but we're going to go ahead and go into the Conquest of Wide. Now, the reason I'm not saving is I actually... well, I'll get into that later. Oh, by the way, if you wanted to, after Mother's sickbed, if you want to do some training with Gustav and maybe bring... you can bring... Gustav and Kelvin, specifically, they can go to Volvalang and do some training. You'll have those two characters in your party right after Mother's sickbed. Not necessarily a really good, useful thing. I mean, if you want to use Kelvin to learn some spells, he can learn some pretty decent spells. But, you know, I really don't care to. Yes, unfortunately. Well, okay. He started out kind of high. Man, the nobles in this game are something else because, like, okay, with a few exceptions, Kelvin, you know, Gustav, things like that, Philippe to an extent, they just surprised the hell out of me because, like, this guy right here, you know, he's like, well, you know, he starts off saying, well, Gustav is my friend. And then, like, he immediately goes around and says, he's best suited to be my jester. Ha ha ha, he's worthless. I'm like, son of a gun. Wonder what Gustav's aim is. But anyway. Let's talk to some of these people. Shopping with Mama today. No, that must be a fairy tale. There's absolutely no truth in that. There can't be. But anyway, if you come in here, you can buy some things, including the first shop in the game that sells steel equipment. Now, I'm not going to buy anything here, but buying a steel dagger is not necessarily a bad idea if you have a sword user in your, you know, main party. That's not Gustav, excuse me. Why do I call him Goose? For example, someone like Tyler, who is more suited to physical combat than magical combat. If you want him to use swords and have been training him as such, the steel dagger is actually a pretty decent investment for him. Someone for him, as well as some later characters that you get in your party. Like I said, I'm not going to buy one just because I don't typically use a whole lot of sword techniques in my lineup until I get pretty much just to the final party of the game. So, you know, worth looking into buying, I'm not going to buy it. Same thing with the ranger bow. Let's see. The plate armor. Iron breastplate is what Gustav has on right now. You could buy a gauntlet if you wanted. The problem with steel armor, steel equipment, includes steel dagger, is that it not only lowers your maximum SP, but it lowers your SP regeneration. Obviously, that doesn't do anything to Gustav, but pretty much what it does is anybody you kit out in steel equipment, pretty much all they're going to be able to do is physical attacks. They're not going to be able to keep up a spell offensive. So you've got to kind of balance that. You know, someone like Will is very, very much not suited to be a steel warrior due to his incredibly low WP regeneration and his... he's more of a spellcaster. There's people talking about the ruler of Wide, huh? What have you got to say? Okay. More of those little... I wonder what those things are called. I don't think they ever say. Huh. This house is empty at the moment. Although, if you can remember what this place looks like, it will actually show up a couple of times later on in the game. And it'll give you an idea of where you're at. So, you know, just keep that house in mind. But for now, we need to go into the inn. What have you got to say? That man is a lush! What have you got here? Appears Gustav has a master plan going on here. Well, in case you didn't catch Gustav's plan by the name of the scenario, he's trying to conquer wide. And at this point, he's trying to find kind of an inn, as it were. You know, something to give him the leverage he needs to get in and put himself in power with minimal effort, minimal bloodshed. What do you got to say? Alright, now as far as I know, the next trigger, all you have to do is leave the inn and then go right back in. I think that's all you have to do. I'm not 100% clear on that. Oh, sounds like a nice guy. What? Yeah, that is kind of terrible. Gustav is pretty shrewd. Alright, so now what you want to do... You want to head on back to the castle. That first gentleman I talked to that said you can come on in the castle, and then Gustav said no. That's who you talk to. And you can go on in. And there's nothing up and down the back areas. Just dead ends. Now, if you go through this door right here, you'll find Nebelstern in there, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing in there? Get out, get out, get out." And he rushes you off. Where you're supposed to go is up here. And this right here is actually why I like Sir Mouton. I guess maybe it rhymes with crouton. I don't know. You know, tax exemptions. You know, he's helping the people of his nation out. I mean, I'm not sure how big wide is. If it's like a something like a small principality or something like that, or just an area, and probably just a small area, since it's, you know, being overseen by a lord and not a, you know, a prince or something like that. But one of the things that really strikes me as respectful in this regard is that when confronted with it, he didn't deny it. You know, he just, yes, I have done this. I'm sorry, my mind is wandering. I made dinner a little while ago. What I did is I went to the store and I bought some, went back to the bakery in my local grocery store, and I got some French bread. And it's sliced French bread. It's pre-sliced. And I got it, it's whole grain sliced French bread. And I took it and I got some pizza sauce, some Parmesan, some mozzarella, and some pepperoni, and I made pizza bread, and it was so good. In case you're wondering how to do it, it's pretty easy. You just take the bread, spread it, get you about a spoonful of pizza sauce, depending on how big your bread is. Put some Parmesan on bottom, a little bit, not a whole lot, and then a bunch of mozzarella. Just heap on the mozzarella, and then heap on whatever your topping is. All I had was pepperoni, because you know you could go to the store and buy a bag of pepperoni, and you know you just slap it on there. If it was something like Italian sausage or something, you could get that as well, but you have to cook that first. I didn't feel like screwing with that. It was so good. I made like 7 pieces. I ate like 4 of them. I still got a couple down there, and my mind keeps going back to going downstairs and getting some more. But no, I must persevere. I must help Sir Gus take over Wide. What kind of name for a city is Wide? How big is the city? It's pretty wide. Whoa.